I'm Scott Miller, and this is my daily life living in Leon, Nicaragua. Today we were talking about Facebook Marketplace on the Expats WhatsApp group, and this brings up an important point of understanding how Facebook Marketplace works here, when you can use it, when you can't, and what you need to know about it. It's not a complex topic, but it is one that's going to catch you off guard when you're moving to Nicaragua, so a little bit of understanding of how that works from someone who doesn't even have Facebook, coincidentally, may be a good one. Yes, it's true. I have not had Facebook for most of a decade, and I have no plans to ever get it. I find it a very saddening experience, but here in Nicaragua, it is something that you generally use on a regular basis. So I do have Instagram, I do have WhatsApp, but Facebook I happily do not have, and think that it makes for a much better life, and that is why you don't see my show or any links to it or promotions and stuff on Facebook. So I have not used Facebook in quite a long time. Trust me, it is one of the best things you could possibly do, but if you're going to do a lot of like shopping or looking for apartments and stuff, there's reasons to be on Facebook here, so it may make sense. We're going to talk about what you need to know about Facebook right after the bump. Here in Central America, it is really common for businesses and people and all kinds of things that you would normally associate as some organization that would have a website to do without and not have one. Even really large companies may do without major websites for their product or corporation, and they'll simply have a Facebook page, which they can't actually, in most cases, prove is their own, and you just have to hope that the place claiming to be that business is them. It's kind of crazy. You could say that about websites, but there's a lot more controls on that, and not a single company that is simply letting people pretend to be someone or not pretend to be someone. It's a weird situation. So just something to be aware of here in Central America and much of the world. There is often people just don't pay for websites. They don't really understand websites. Maybe really large businesses tend to have them, but smaller ones try to find free alternatives. And because Facebook allows you to create free spaces for your business, it becomes a very popular place to do so, and to do illegitimate ones as well. So you need to be a little bit careful. But what we're going to talk about today, yes, that's just a general thing to know, that Facebook is a very popular centralized source for a lot of the resources that you will use here. Not one that I like, but definitely one that reality simply dictates you probably need to use. Much as WhatsApp is definitely not the best messaging platform, but it is the one the world uses. So if you want to be standardized and be able to talk to people just like you needed traditional telephones, right, 10-digit dialing or whatever, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, you need WhatsApp for the last 20, 30 years. I guess we haven't really had it for 20 years, but I've had it for at least 10 years. And by the time I got it 10 years ago outside the United States, it was already in that how do you live without WhatsApp kind of scenario. So it's definitely something you should have had for a long time at this point. The world has moved on. These are things we have standardized on, and whether we like it or not, this is how the world works in general. Of course, you and your friends can go use something modern like Nicaragua or whatever if you want to, but you have to have this for dealing with just random ad hoc communications, the way that we've always used telephones back in the past decades. Anyway, so when it comes to shopping here, where you're looking for products, one of the tools that people need to use is Facebook Marketplace. Now, some people use this for real estate. My dogs are going crazy. I think the squirrel's in the tree. And you may be looking for a car. You may be looking for some pots and pans, some used furniture. You may be looking for an apartment or even a house. All kinds of things go on Facebook Marketplace, and to a lesser extent, Encuentra 24. Both of these are websites that allow people to just post things for free. 10 years ago, when we first moved down here, Encuentra 24 was the predominant way for doing this, but Facebook Marketplace has really taken off. Facebook in general has really taken off in this region as a centralizing force, and so that's the one that I think people have shifted to pretty heavily, and people do talk about it quite a bit more. The other has kind of faded away, being sort of like Craigslist in the region, right? There was a time when Craigslist was really popular in the United States, and now, yeah, it's still around, but nobody talks about it anymore. We've kind of forgotten about it for the most part. It lost all of its momentum, partially because it's really ugly. Anyway, so when we're talking about Facebook Marketplace, there's a few things you need to know about how the culture of Nicaragua has played into those things. Before we get into them, just a few little housekeeping things. One, if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ScottAlMiller. I'll put it on the screen. That's just like going to Patreon. It helps support the show that we do here and all the work. And I have been super busy, so sorry that I haven't been able to get out and go anywhere. I have literally not gone anywhere, right? I am not leaving the house. I'm not doing anything because I'm working around the clock. All good stuff. stuff. We've talked about it. I'm not going to harp on that. It's good work. I'm very excited about it, but it's kept me locked in the house. So we're doing a lot of videos from the garden, a lot of shorter ones, and a lot of quick topics of things that come up as we're doing so. But my driver's license has arrived. It is sitting. It's been confirmed that the package, no one's looked at the license, is in Managua, and we should be getting it in 48 hours. So hopefully I will have that, and that will open up a lot of things for me. And that's one of the reasons I'm so heads down working, is so that we can actually maybe go somewhere pretty soon once we have a driver's license. It's been forever since I've driven. It seems like I drove a whole lot not that long ago, but it's actually been quite some time since I've really been driving. So it's kind of a weird thing to be like, I'll be able to drive again. And I have a car. I have 2 cars now, since it's a bit crazy. So a lot of things have changed, and that's probably good. So that's coming up. And of course, get in the comments, say hello, give it a thumbs up, all those things. And what goes on with Facebook Marketplace here? So this is a little bit wild, a little bit crazy. And the thing is that people here, whether it's Facebook doing this, to some degree, we can't actually figure out how all it's happening. And I think it's a combination of things. I think on one hand, people in Nicaragua are incredibly secretive and intentionally obfuscate basic information. We've talked about this a lot, but when it comes to trying to sell something, this gets really weird and confusing for outsiders, and probably for Nicaraguans too, because someone will be like, I want to sell you this thing. And you're like, ooh, can I buy it? And then they're like, no. And that's kind of it. Like they want to sell it, but they're not 100% sold themselves that they want to sell it, and they sort of just get schizophrenic about the whole thing. And so people will put up houses for rent and then refuse to talk to you. They'll put something up for sale, they'll refuse to sell it to you. They'll pay for an ad and never respond. Like crazy stuff. So this happens all the time. It's not just you. It's not a one-time thing. There is this entire world of, and we've talked about it with like businesses. Someone will open a business, put their life savings into it, and then flat out refuse to let anyone tell you where the business is. They will actually hide the business and make it a competition to see if you can bother to find them without them telling you where they are. It's crazy, but these are things that have been driven into the social consciousness here, and so you see it play out in Facebook Marketplace too, so don't be completely surprised by that. Just be aware that that's very likely to happen. Just because someone's bothered to put up an ad doesn't mean that they're actually going to bother to try to sell it. That's the first thing. Second thing is misinformation on the page is through the roof. Assume everything is fake, including whether it's actually the thing it says it is at all. So it's this crazy. If you go to a listing for houses, it may be furniture or a motorcycle or pots and pans. If you go to a listing for pots and pans, it might be a house. They will put anything into any category, so you can't search on it and you can't believe the descriptions and labels that you see. So you have to read the description and try to gather from the information they provide what they're actually talking about. Normally this isn't too hard, but all the tools you would normally use using Facebook don't actually work. So if you're filtering by houses, you'll miss a ton of houses because they're hidden in other types. If you're looking for furniture, you won't be able to find it if you don't look at houses, because maybe that house listing is actually just someone selling a rocking chair. It's even crazier than the items being the wrong type. They will take locations, and this is what brought it up today that made it so apparent. Someone wants to rent an apartment in Leon, like they have one to rent out, but they listed it in Matagalpa. So the people who are in Leon have no idea that it's available. The people in Matagalpa are calling them and confused because it's not in Matagalpa. Nobody who actually wants this apartment can connect to it. That's crazy, but that's how people put things. So you have to really be willing to just look everywhere, search all over, or you're just going to miss a bunch of opportunities. And people miss so many sales. And this is one of the things that keeps the prices low, because the people who would be willing to pay for things often can't connect to them. And by the time someone's actually selling or renting something, they're desperate because no one's ever responded. And for some reason, they don't figure out that they've put the information in the wrong place. Likewise, descriptions on things are routinely wrong. Okay, the squirrel went right over my head as we did that, and the dogs were freaking out, went in right up there. So they're losing their minds, and now Mia has a coconut, and the squirrel seems to have got away. So, I mean, it definitely didn't get caught, but I think he left the yard, so the dogs aren't freaking out now. We'll see. I can hear Clive still. Anyway, so the descriptions are routinely wrong. So if you're looking at a house, the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the description of things, I've never seen one that actually matched. Some are close, some are far, but be prepared that you have no expectation that what you see is what you get. It was always, and it could be way better or way worse. It's not like people are lying in a consistent direction. Like, well, everyone decides to call the extra living room an extra bedroom in the hopes that you'll buy the place and then find out later it's really an open bodega or something. No. It could be random, right? It's a 5-bedroom house, they'll sell it as a 3, and the description will be the wrong colors, like everything is wrong. And you're like, where is this coming? I don't know if they're copying, pasting from someone. I don't know if they're intentionally obfuscating because they, heaven forbid someone get the actual description of something, right? Intentional obfuscation of the most trivial, mundane things in life is just part of Nicaraguan culture. That's really important to understand. And then almost universally, whatever the cost of something is going to be listed as wrong. One, the number is often disconnected from all reality. If they say per month, it could be by year, by week, by day, you have no idea. If they list dollars, it's probably in Cordoba. If they list Cordoba, it's probably in dollars. Nearly every listing, and I can't stress this enough, every time I see a listing, every time, it is wildly wrong. Some combination of these things, with some of them, including the price, being wrong in quite literally every example I've ever seen. Maybe it's a little bit wrong. Maybe it's wrong in a way that's obvious, right? There's only one number that would make sense. This has to be US dollars on a monthly basis. By law, everything has to be listed in Cordobas, but that's not how it actually works. And this could be, to some degree, that Facebook presents one thing to them and shows you a different thing. I don't know exactly what's causing this, but every bit of information on Facebook Marketplace is wrong when it comes to Nicaragua. If you're in the United States, most of that information is right. So somehow it can work sometimes, but something about the combination of the culture or the people using it or the way that Facebook interacts when it knows your location is Nicaragua messes everything up. So I don't know why this is, but you can be sure that when you're looking at Facebook Marketplace, all of the filters don't work. All of the information you see is wrong, and you kind of have to go off of, and hopefully the pictures you see are of the thing, but that's not nearly as guaranteed as it would be in the US either. You just kind of have to hope for the best. And these dogs are going absolutely crazy. I don't know if I can find them on camera here so that you can see them, but they are nuts. Where are they? They're way over there under the tree. This is their squirrel comes out and they go crazy. Anyway, it's just important to know that Facebook Marketplace is an important tool for you to use. It will be one of those places where you can find things that aren't available anywhere else, especially if you're looking for used appliances, used furniture, stuff like that. Where else are you going to find it? Plus, a lot of new stuff is listed there because so many businesses don't have websites. So be aware that it's a useful tool, but also be aware that you can't count on the filters, the tools, or the information that's on it to be accurate. And we all know that it could be inaccurate, but understanding that it's assumed to be completely inaccurate is very important, or you'll spend a lot of time confused and frustrated when instead you could just be really weirded out by how bizarre it actually is. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. If you'd like to help support the channel, again, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ScottAllenMiller. Give it a thumbs up, share on social media, tell someone about the show, watch an extra episode. It really does help a lot. And I'll see all of you with the dogs tomorrow.